Welcome to The Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. Welcome back. We are doing our final episode on The Haunting of Hill House.
Woohoo! We made it all the way through.
Episode 9 and 10. And episode 9 is Olivia's episode. We finally get to see her point of view for that night. Well, all the nights leading up to it. So she starts to have disturbing visions pretty soon into their stay there.
Yeah, and I still don't understand. They're all freaking out. They're all seeing things. I don't know. I understand that they have to fix the house up. But don't you think you'd be like, I'm going to leave for a while. This isn't real good. Something's going on. I mean,
to be fair, she does try to leave.
Well, she does, but a little too late, I think. But the kids were seeing things in the beginning, and they were poo-pooing it, and nah, man, I'm out. I'm too much of a scaredy cat to stay in that kind of environment.
She starts to see visions of Nell and Luke dead. She sees them as adults dead. And she's telling Hugh about it, and she's like, they don't look like they're themselves, you know, they're obviously grown, but I can tell that it's them. And he's like, man, sounds like one heck of a nightmare. But it's happening while it's during waking hours. She doesn't think that she's sleeping.
No, she's having visions. She has gifts that she can see and feel, and so... Yeah, no.
I'm with you, though. It is weird because it's like the kids are experiencing things and Olivia's experiencing things. And nobody puts it together until it's too late.
Yeah, they're all feeling so much fear in those moments, too. Child Luke went down and got in the basement, and he was screaming the way he was. Just the sound of that. That's real, true terror.
Yeah.
I am taking my children and I'm leaving. We can come and work on this in the day. We'll stay somewhere else.
So way back in a previous episode, Steve looks for her. And this is when he shows her the vanity that he fixed up for her. Yeah. And when he finds her, she's in Luke and Nell's room, seemingly talking to herself. Now, from her perspective, she's talking to Nell and Luke. And one of the things she said, like, no, I would never hurt you. And this is from Steve's perspective, she's just speaking to an empty room. Now, again, in Olivia's view, she's talking to the twins because they're saying really fucked up, disturbing shit.
Yeah.
Like, Nell's talking about how she's gonna... her neck's gonna break and she's gonna be sad, and so sad that she can't handle it anymore, and Luke's gonna say the same, except he's gonna put poison in his blood, and like alluding to his future as an addict.
Yeah. And they're children when they're saying this, so it makes it even more disturbing. It's not like she's seeing them as adults saying these things. They're babies saying these things to her.
Well, and the thing is, when Steve is like, Mom, like, who are you talking to? She kind of wakes up, or... I guess that's not really the right term.
Comes out of whatever fugue
again,
state she was in.
She's not asleep.
No.
Something's happening. It wasn't Nell and Luke. It was a house. When she looks in the mirror and she punches it, it's because she sees the ghosts of Nell and Luke as adults dead again. And that's why she punches the mirror and gets really upset. Now, around the same time, she encounters the ghost of Poppy Hill. Now, this is when she genuinely thinks that she's sleeping.
Yes.
She thinks it's a dream. It's not. Everyone in the house is asleep. And Poppy kind of guides her out of bed and takes her to the reading room. And she's like, well, when I was here, Poppy's saying this. When I had this room, it was a nursery. And again, just for a reminder, Poppy Hill is the insane wife. She's crazy. Beautiful, but insane. Totally insane. And she tells Olivia, like, if you don't protect your kids, they're going to go out in the world and the world's going to devour them. And so she needs to do something. She needs to do anything to keep them safe. Like, she's like, what are you willing to do to keep them safe? And Olivia says anything. Everything. Well, this isn't good. Because, again, Poppy Hill is insane.
She is absolutely crazy.
So this is my thing. Is, like, everyone hates Poppy Hill. And I think for fair reasons, okay? But I wonder how much of her insanity was heightened / worsened by the house itself.
Maybe.
Because she's definitely, even as a ghost, she's still under the influence of the house. She doesn't want the Cranes to leave. And I think more than that, she wants children in the house. Because her kids died. And I think we very briefly see the ghost of the kid in the wheelchair, which is alluded to be hers, but not one of the more active ghosts, shall we say. So this is when Olivia really goes downhill. This is when she gives Hugh the bad blueprints. And they talk and they agree, yes, she needs to go away, visit her sister.
Yeah, because he wakes up and she's on top of him with the screwdriver to his neck, and so he's like, I'm thinking maybe you need a break.
Yeah. So she packs and she goes to leave, but she doesn't leave. She gets a hotel, the same hotel that everyone stays in after everything happens, the same one that Nell gets a room before she goes back to Hill House as an adult. It's the same one. And she calls from the hotel room and
lies.
She pretends that she's at Janet's.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as it gets dark enough, she goes back to the house. This episode is crazy. So she gets into the house. Shirley actually wakes up because she's hungry and sees her in the kitchen. And Shirley's like, hey, I thought you
went to Aunt Janet.
What are you doing here? And Olivia's just like, I just couldn't leave you guys. And she's making tea. Now, a familiar refrain with Nell is that she wants a tea party and no one will have a tea party with her. Mm-hmm. So she goes up to the twins' bedroom. Like, she tells Shirley to go to sleep. It's implied that Shirley, like, by Poppy, I think, that Shirley and Steve and Theo are too old. Like, they've passed the point where Olivia can, like, protect them.
Save them, whatever it is. That, I don't even know what to call it. Insanity is playing in her mind that she will be able to save them.
Yeah.
And Poppy never mentions the older kids. It's just the two babies.
Yep.
Because the screaming Mimis are going to get them.
Yeah. Which Poppy describes as like a nightmare. So, before Olivia leaves, Luke asks, can Abigail come over for a sleepover?
And they all still think that Abigail is not a real child.
Yeah, nobody does. And she's like, of course. Why wouldn't your imaginary friend be able to come over for a sleepover? Yeah. Now, when she goes into the twins' room, Luke is on the floor, Nell's in her bed, and Abigail is in Luke's bed. Now, when you first watched this, did you think it was a ghost of a little girl?
Yes.
Okay, so you still did not think that Abigail was real?
Well, no, I started catching on that Abigail was real when her parents were kind of talking about how they'd lost a child, but yet it just started, I started thinking, okay, maybe
you thought it was Abigail?
This is an actual child that they're hiding. Mm. Yeah.
Well, spoiler, guys. Abigail is 100% a real child.
A real child.
She is the Dudleys' baby.
And they had kept her pretty much isolated to keep her safe.
Yeah.
So they never let her in the house.
She was homeschooled, and she lived through the woods. So, like, earlier when, I don't remember if it was Steve or Shirley or whoever it was, one of the older kids, though, was like, Abigail lives in the woods. And it's like, she does. She lives in a house in the woods, but that is where she comes from. She walks over from her house. And it's important to note, too, that Abigail is the same age as Nell and Luke. So just a little baby.
And she's pretty much Luke's best friend.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. And so Olivia invites her along to the tea party. She's like, we're having a secret tea party. And they go up to the red room. And when they go inside, it's like a cute little room with it's the perfect place to have a tea party. And Nell is super excited because it's always been locked before.
Exactly. They've never been able to get in.
And I think Olivia even says, like, well, it's open for us now. Or she says kind of something about, like, well, we can go in there now. And, you know, something along those lines. Now, Shirley wakes up Hugh and is like, Mom's here and she's weird.
Yeah, something's wrong.
And Hugh's like, what do you mean your mom's here? Like, are you sure you weren't sleeping? Like, she left. She called me from Janet's.
She's like, no, she's having a tea party.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Hugh goes down to the kitchen. That's when he sees that there's rat poison. And
he immediately knows what she's doing.
He immediately knows. Which is really interesting to me. Do you think it was fatherly intuition? Or do you think it was just him being smart?
I think he was at the point where he knew how bad Olivia was. Like, he knew that she was not stable. I mean, he woke up with her on top of him and a screwdriver at his throat. So when he saw the rat poison sitting next to the tea, yeah, I think it was immediate, oh my God, she's killing the kids.
Yeah. It's horrible. So back in the tea room, she fixes the tea for everyone, even herself. And she tells them to, you know, start drinking it. Nella's like, well, it's too hot to drink right now, so you gotta blow on it. And when they're talking, again, it's weird. Like, even Nell and Luke are like,
something's not right.
Why is, like, she's just saying weird things. She's talking about protecting them and how this will fix everything and stuff like that. Abigail, poor Abigail, she's so awkward.
Well, and she doesn't know that family, at all. So she doesn't know how the mom really acts. So I don't think she noticed anything that was off. For her, she was just like, oh, we're having a tea party in the middle of the night.
I don't know. I thought she seemed uncomfortable.
Well, I'm sure she did because, A, she wasn't supposed to be in that house. B, she asked that her parents not be told that she was in the house.
Yeah.
So she was probably uncomfortable with the whole thing because she just didn't know. She'd been isolated her whole life.
Yeah.
And here she is in this situation where she's being woke up in the middle of the night and hauled into this room for a tea party. And yeah, I mean, she may have thought it was a little weird, but she doesn't know Olivia, so she wouldn't know how she normally acts compared to how she was acting that day.
Yeah, she sits there and she starts drinking the tea. She's the only one that drinks it. At this point, Hugh he's running through the house. He gets to the door and he sees that it's open. Again, he's never been able to open it.
Yep.
And he bursts in the door, sees that Luke and Nell are about to drink the tea, and he knocks everything off the table. He's yelling. He's telling them not to drink it. Olivia's upset. She's like, what are you doing? He slams her against the wall. He's like trying to get her away from the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think this was an overreaction at all. I mean, it's a little complicated because, I mean, even...
I don't know, as a parent, though, male, female, I would hope that my significant other, if they thought I was poisoning my children, would throw me across the room.
Yeah.
I mean, you're protecting children. And male, female abuse or not, if you are hurting a child, you deserve to get whatever you get.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was abusive of Hugh to do this.
No.
I think he was defending his children.
Yes.
Now, Luke and Nell are screaming. Abigail at this point I think she even started coughing before Hugh burst in, and she's like foaming at the mouth. She drank like the whole cup.
Yeah.
So she dies.
Sweet little girl that they had protected.
Yeah, she didn't. It was too late. And as soon as Hugh grabs... So Olivia kind of gets knocked out. This is when the whole first night it opens up with, basically. This is where it happens, where he grabs all the kids and they leave. So he gathers up Luke and Nell. He grabs Shirley. He grabs Theo. Theo has her little freak out about him touching her because she sees him slamming Olivia against the wall.
Yeah.
And Steve, he wakes up last. So when Olivia wakes up, she sees that Abigail is dead. She's devastated.
Yes.
and confused and scared. And so she starts searching through the house, and she realizes that everyone is gone. And that makes her even more and more upset. And Poppy is there, and she's like, he's going to take those kids away from you. He's going to take those babies away from you. He's taking them away right now. And this is where she tries to open Steve's door, and Hugh had locked it. And the room across from Steve's bedroom was the same one with like the servant microphone thing in the kitchen. This is where one of the elder Hills lived, and the old woman ghost that kind of stays in that room says she lies. And Olivia's like, I'm so confused. Can you help me? Can you help me wake up? And the old woman is like, don't listen to her. She lies. And she's talking about Poppy. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, Olivia sees Hugh running away with Steve, and she watches that, like, she tries to chase after them, but she's injured. She hurt her foot when she got thrown across the room. And she watches them leave, and that's when Luke says he sees Abigail in the window, and he says, oh, she's okay.
We have to go back for her.
Yeah. And the older kids see their mom in the window. And this is when she's at the top of the spiral staircase, and she's so upset, and she's like, I just want to wake up. I just want to wake up from this horrible dream. And Poppy says, you can. You just have to... I don't remember exactly what she says. But then she jumps off the spiral staircase, and the fall kills her.
So that's where all the blood came from. Horrible.
So that's how that episode ends. So now you this is such like a whirlwind of fucking revelations, right? Because you already kind of assume that something happened with Olivia because of everything that they've said before. But she was so ill mentally, and Poppy exploited it and got to the point where she halfway thought that killing the kids would keep them safe.
Yeah.
But then she woke up and she realized, like, oh, I killed a kid, you know? And she was genuinely, like, really upset and remorseful about it. And so she didn't know what was going on. Like, I think that's the most tragic part of it, is she didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And you have Poppy in her ear, like a fucking demented little...
Yeah, like a little parrot on her shoulder just saying the nastiest little...
Yeah.
Things to coax her into killing herself or someone else.
And Abigail's real, and Hugh really did have to get all the kids out, because who knows what would have happened. So back in the present, Steve and Hugh find Luke upstairs in the red room. They see his body laying there, and the door closes before they can get in. And so they're both pounding on it. They're trying to pry it open. And Hugh says, the whole time we were in this house, I was never able to get this door open. The only time it was ever open was that last night. And, you know, it didn't mean anything good. Well, while Hugh he like sits down to take his heart medication, the door opens and Steve goes into the room. And it closes behind him, trapping him inside.
Yeah, that door only allows certain people in at certain times.
Yeah.
The house plays its games with everyone.
Yeah, and throughout the time that they're in there, in the house, like eventually when Shirley and Theo show up, they all end up in there. One after the other. Either because Poppy grabs them or they walk in the room. And while they're in there, they all get stuck in these like recurring nightmares. So Luke had injected himself with rat poison. Not on purpose. His nightmare was Joey.
Yep.
Acting like this nightmare was that she actually had been found by Luke. She had taken the money to put them up in a hotel, and they were going to get well together. And she like has drugs, and she's going to do drugs. And Luke is like, this isn't right. You stole the money and you left. And I'm not going to be a part of this. And Joey's like, well, you already are. And that's when you see a needle in his arm. 100% he did not do that.
Nope.
And in the real world, it's not filled with heroin or smack or whatever. It's filled with rat poison.
The house is trying to kill them all.
Yeah.
In its own little special way.
Shirley's nightmare that she gets trapped in is... Throughout the series, she's kind of haunted by this image of this man toasting a glass to her, and we find out where that came from. So years ago, she had gone on a conference, some type of conference for funeral work, and a guy bought her a drink. It's the same guy. He toasts the same way. And she explains that she's married. And she actually sends over like a weird appetizer to kind of make him uncomfortable.
The strangest thing on the app's menu that no one ever buys.
Yeah. So he actually takes the food over and is like, my bad for not seeing the wedding room from like 5 feet away, you know, all this. And they actually end up talking. And they talk for a long time. Like, they get last called and everything. And this is when he invites her up to her room. And she says, no, but that's not what happened. The ghost of this man, the house that's puppeting this man's image, says, that's not what happened. You went up to my hotel room and we didn't make drinks. And then you went home and you never told your husband about it. And, you know, all that.
So, see, she was very judgmental on everybody else for things that they had done. But she blocked out the fact that
she was projecting hard for sure. Yeah. Theo's nightmare. Hers is like the kind of the most normal of all of them. Because it's just that girl, who I still don't remember her name. It's just the pretty girl that she hooks up with.
Yeah. Does she ever really say her name?
She does. I don't
She
remember.
does introduce her at the funeral at one point because she inserted herself in the funeral.
Still weird.
Yeah.
Still weird that she did that, but whatever. I mean, it's like they start having sex, but it kind of goes weirdly wrong. And then there's these hands that are all over her. Steve's nightmare starts weird. It's like he's writing the last night of when he and Hugh went to find Luke. And he's like writing it for his new book. And Lee is there and she's pregnant. If y'all remember, he had a vasectomy. So, what do you do? Get it reversed? I don't know. Which doesn't always work, by the way. Just, you know, it's pretty...
Super true.
It's meant to be permanent. Anyway, so she's pregnant. He's writing the new novel, and he's like, I just can't remember what happens next. It's so weird. Like, it felt like it just happened yesterday, but I don't know. And Lee's like, well, you found him, and he died. And Steve's like, no, I don't think so. I don't remember that. And she's like, no, you need to just accept it, because that's what happened.
Yeah, and it was really funny, because they start out, like, having this great conversation about how he's writing and this, and then she's just, like, totally belittling him. Like, she is at him about everything.
Deserved, though.
Yeah.
I was like, at first when I was watching this, I was like, the very first time, I'm like, yeah, Lee. Yeah.
Doesn't she call him an eater? Like, you eat everything.
Yeah.
And
you shit it out.
And then she's talking about the baby, and I wonder if she's going to be an eater like her daddy. And, I mean, she's just, is she going to eat me from the inside out?
Yeah, it gets very fucked up and weird. Like, it goes from, Lee, tell him. And then you're like,
turning
oh, no.
into this zombified pregnant woman with,
It's very gross. Now, all of these nightmares that happen, towards the end, when things get really fucked up, Nell pulls them all out. And they wake up one by one in the red room. Now, Luke is, like, actively still dying. Because
rat poison in your veins.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
And I was so upset. I was like, there's no way. How are you going to live?
I know.
I literally was so devastated. I was actively crying. The first time I watched this, I was actively crying throughout this whole episode.
Right.
And every time they were going to, like, Shirley's nightmare and Theo's nightmare and all that, I was like, Luke is literally dying. I don't care about any of this. I mean, to be fair, they all need to get the fuck out of the house because it's going to kill them all. But Luke was the most emergent, in my opinion. So anyway, Nell's ghost, once they're all, like, woken up in the room and they start realizing where they are and what's going on, she's not really present with them. She's saying things like she's having a conversation, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense until, like, 5 minutes later when Steve says something, and the first thing that she ever said is an answer to that. She's like, I feel a little clearer now. I think everything's been out of order. And It's a very emotional speech. It's so fucking good. There's no way explaining it will do it any justice. It's perfect.
No, yeah.
You need to watch this. And it's basically Nell forgiving all of her siblings and forgiving herself and saying that we all loved each other. The rest is just confetti. And she explains that the red room isn't the heart of the house. It's actually the stomach. And it wants to devour them all. And Hugh had said something similar, if you remember in a previous episode. He said how the house is, it's like a meal. This family is an unfinished meal to the house. Right?
Yeah.
And then Nell kind of echoes the sentiment. And she reveals that every single one of them had been in the red room before. It was Luke's treehouse. It was the family room for Cheryl. It was the dance studio for Theo. It was the game room for Steve. It was Olivia's reading room. In fact, the only person who doesn't have a experience in the red room is Hugh. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. So this blew my fucking mind, okay? Because it shows images of the treehouse and the game room and the family room and the dance studio, and they all have the same fucking window, and it's still it's all the same approximate shape. Insane reveal. Also a fucking great twist.
Yeah, it really was.
So outside of the room, Olivia she appears to Hugh, and she's angry at him for taking them away.
Yeah.
She's like, it's your fault that
the world's gonna destroy them. They're gonna get hurt.
And they did. It's exactly what happened in Olivia's eyes. And Hugh is begging her to open the door for him because he still can't get in. He's like, I will make you a promise that I will never leave you again. Well, I don't think he says that. He just says, I'll make you a promise if you open the door and let them go. And the door opens. Now, at this point, Hugh enters the room. He helps Steve carry Luke out. Luke is in really bad shape. They had to do CPR for him. But he needs, like, medical attention. And as he and Steve, like, everybody's leaving, Steve trips over something. And he's like, are you okay? And Steve's like, yeah. And they keep going, and they get Luke in the car. And they're like, yeah, Dad, we'll meet you at the, like, are you going to get in? And Hugh's like, no, I'll meet you guys at the hospital. Steve is the last one to leave with, like, he stays behind with Hugh. Because they had driven there together, remember? And when Hugh and Steve go back into the house, that's when you get the information about the Dudleys coming in because they were looking for Abigail. She wasn't at home. And that's when Hugh makes the connection. Oh, there was a dead little girl up in the tea room. Yeah. And that must be who they're talking about. And Hugh finds Olivia's body. She's dead, and he takes the Dudleys up to get Abigail. But as Mrs. Dudley is actively crying over Abigail's corpse, Abigail appears in the doorway. Fit as a fiddle, it seems. And that's when the Dudleys are like, oh, she's here still.
I think Hugh was 100% prepared to destroy the house.
He was ready to burn it down, 100%. Yes. And Mr. Dudley was like, you can't. Like, our baby's here. It's like, just leave it. Just leave it. We will corroborate your story with, like, whatever story you come up with the police. Like, nobody needs to know what really happened. You know, we won't press charges.
This is all we have left of her.
Yeah, because Olivia killed Abigail. Like, they totally could have pressed charges. I mean, they could have made a big stink about it. Obviously, like, how do you press charges against a dead person? You really can't.
Yeah.
But it could have gotten really nasty. And the Dudleys are just like, we will do whatever you want. Just keep the house open so we can visit our little girl.
So sad.
So Hugh, at this point, in the present, is like, you didn't tell your sisters what you saw. And this is in reference to Hugh dying. He took all of his medication. His promise was that he was going to stay with Olivia.
If she would let the kids go.
Yeah. And Steve's like, no, I didn't tell them. I'm still not entirely sure why he didn't. I guess maybe because what good would it have done? It was too late. They needed to get Luke to the hospital. And I think Steve also knew that Hugh was fighting so hard to save Luke and the rest of them from the house that even though Hugh didn't lay it out for him, like, why he died, I think Steve knew that it was an exchange, essentially. So he says goodbye to Steve and enters the red room, and Olivia and Nell are there. And as Steve is leaving the house, you see all of the ghosts. All of them.
Yeah.
Even the clockmaker.
Yeah.
Right?
First time Steve actually acknowledged that there were ghosts in that house.
Luke wakes up in the hospital, and this is when there's a time skip to 2 years later. Luke is celebrating his sobriety. They're like having a party about it. And Leah is pregnant. Theo's girlfriend is there. Shirley does tell Kevin what happened, and they stay together. That was one thing, too, like, I got pretty emotional over, was when Shirley sat Kevin down and was like, I need you to love me like you've never loved me before.
Yeah.
And I need to tell you that this happened. I was like, that actually... So I don't think that relationships should or can continue after cheating happens. However, I guess I don't 100% believe that, because I really felt for Shirley, and I really kind of was rooting for Shirley and Kevin's relationship at the end.
It's a hard thing. The thing with cheating is not that there's ever a good excuse. I always believe that if you feel like you're going to cheat, you probably should walk away. Just walk away.
Yep.
But there are circumstances, I think, where some things happen and people can get by it. I don't know. I don't know.
I think Shirley and Kevin, I think it was possible for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because of the thing with Kevin taking the money. I think they had... I'm not saying that they're equivalent crimes, so to speak. Air quotes,
but some pretty deep betrayal on both sides.
Yeah. So I think they had common ground that they both needed to work together to heal from.
Yeah.
Wounds from each side. It also shows an elderly Mr. Dudley taking Mrs. Dudley to the house, the rotting house, and she takes her final breath there and
reunites with their baby.
With their baby and with Abigail. He sees it.
Yeah.
I love the ending so much because it's almost like, I think the decision that Hugh made and also the decisions that the Dudleys made, I think kind of, we don't know for sure, right? But I like to think that what they did started to kind of heal the corruption of Hill House a little bit. Because it didn't feel as evil at the end as it did throughout the series, right?
They sacrificed for the better, for the good.
Yeah.
They didn't sacrifice because of like mental illness or anger or hatred.
Yeah.
They sacrificed for the good.
Yeah. And I think that made all the difference. Because I'm definitely not saying that like, oh yeah, go to Hill House, that'll be good. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like it just felt crippled at the end a little bit. The house itself, like the bad energy. Because it really was just, it became something different.
Yeah.
After Hugh's sacrifice, especially. And it even like, so Poppy Hills Ghost is still there, and when Olivia is talking to Hugh, Olivia's kind of the alpha woman in the situation. Like, she tells Olivia tells Poppy basically, like, go in your fucking corner, bitch. And Poppy listens to her, Yeah. So it's like, she's like the more domineering personality between the two. So I said that I wanted to go back to the fact that he was the only one who doesn't have a room in the house. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a red room equivalent. And I think that's because for Hugh, the entirety of Hill House is his red room. And I think that's why he cottoned on to so many things so quickly, and why ultimately he was the one who was able to get Olivia to release her hold over the kids in the red room because of that.
He was the one that had the most sanity and rationality in the house. I don't think he got sucked into the ghost. And I think he knew they were there.
Yeah.
But he could separate that. Where, like, when he and Steven are standing there and the big tall guy with the hat gets right in Steven's face and he's like, look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
He could separate that. He could keep that fear from welling up.
Yeah.
And do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Which I think is what is a father supposed to do.
Yeah.
Supposed to protect his family.
Protect his family,
Yeah.
100%. And I do think it's interesting that, I mean, that was Olivia's fear too, was that she wasn't able to protect the kids, but the house was able to manipulate and twist that to its needs. And it was never, I don't think it ever had a firm enough hand on Hugh to do that to him. So yeah, fantastic fucking story. One of the best shows I've ever watched.
It is very,
incredible.
very good.
One other thing I want to mention is the night of the storm, when Olivia is like, I'm having such a weird dream. And she was really weird that night and she disappeared. Mm-hmm. I actually think that, like, a part of her had already died in the house. Like, obviously Hugh doesn't find her body until she jumps from the fucking top of the spiral staircase, right? But she wasn't able to leave. Like, she got as far as that fucking motel up the road, and she had to come right back. And, like, just based on her behavior and the way that she did end up disappearing and, like, all the other things that she says and does throughout this series, I really think that the house had basically already taken her, and the last step for the house was to send her over the edge. Yeah. But I think she was already gone.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't think there was any saving her at that point. I mean, it fucking sucks, but it's super tragic.
It is.
And the fact that she did succeed in getting Nell is
horrible.
Yeah. It's really upsetting too. But if that hadn't happened that way, who would have saved her siblings?
Yeah, exactly.
Nell was the only one suited to do that. She pulled them all out. So if you haven't seen The Haunting of Hill House, please give it a watch. If you're looking for a fix for The Haunting of Hill House, I definitely don't recommend the book because it's nothing like the show. It's really good. It is really fucking good, but it's nothing like the show at all. It's very inspired by, there's lots of elements that Flanagan and Netflix and the writers and directors and everything, they pulled from the book, but it's a spiritual adaptation only. It's not a direct adaptation. So that's it. We hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive of The Haunting of Hill House. We had fun watching it because it is just a fucking amazing show.
It is a great show.
And there's so many things. It's so rewatchable because there's so many things that you catch. Because it's, at the end with the reveal and everything, when you go back through and you watch it again, you're like, holy shit. Like, you pick up on things that you miss the first time you watch it. Because it's just stuff that seems mundane. But
well, there's always stuff going on, too. And little innuendos and little
stuff in the background. And, yeah. Because Olivia sees the same watch repairman as Steve does, you know? It's just little stuff like that. So, yeah. That's it. We're going to do a couple of more episodes for the Beck's Bits. So if you haven't listened to that yet, check it out. Well, there's going to be a couple more this month for December. We'll still probably continue to do them occasionally, but obviously right now we're doing it on Christmas Beasts because December. And then our next episode is going to be about the yellow wallpaper. So look out for that too.
Yes.
Final thoughts?
No.
Anything else you want to say? Okay.
No.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.